Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Charlton, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got a pretty interesting show for you guys. I want you guys to stick around for. So please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Now, today I'm going to be talking about Ben Simmons, right? I'm going to be talking about Ben Simmons and a little bit about the Brooklyn Nets. Now, as y'all know, the Brooklyn Nets are pretty interesting NBA story at this point, right? It's really hard to get a pulse on this particular team here. At one point, they were winning some games, and then they started losing some games, and then they won another game. They just recently suffered an embarrassing loss to a shorthanded Philadelphia 76ers, a game, and they lost that game. That was a return of Ben Simmons, obviously, where he played well in that game. And they lost that game to Philly, and they did not have, James Harden was not playing in that game, and Joel Embiid was not playing, and they still somehow found a way to lose that game, which drew a lot of criticism. Ben Simmons, however, did play well. Now, what I noticed was some people out there were basically saying, oh, you know, you're a Ben Simmons hater, you're a bozo, you a clown, blah, 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 blah. Ben Simmons, you hating on Ben Simmons. Look at these numbers that he's putting up. I've always maintained the position that Ben Simmons is wasting everybody's time. And the reason I said that is not based on what happened in Philly that last year. Ben Simmons, if you look at his career, Ben Simmons has been declining since 2019-20. Just go look at his numbers. The numbers have been falling. The other reason I said that Ben Simmons is not serious is because he has refused to improve his basketball game. Essentially, what Ben Simmons was known for when he came into the NBA is the exact same thing he's known for now, which is what? He's a 6'10" point forward that can rebound the ball, that can read the floor, great passer, great defender. This is kind of what we know about Ben Simmons. The problem is that's pretty much all he's been about since then. Where you look at his contemporaries, and these guys have actually been improving. If you look at his free throw shooting percentage, it's pretty much been between 58 to 60% his entire career. This year, he's shooting 50% from the free throw line. Some people say he's coming off of an injury, but his free throw shooting percentage has been around 60 for the 4 years prior. His scoring has been on a decline, right? So when people were so hyped about the Brooklyn Nets initially acquiring him, I was one of the people that was like sitting here scratching my head like, wait a minute, what am I missing? Are we talking about a different guy? And now it seems as if, based on some inside information that Chris Broussard has been getting, it seems like a lot of NBA executives are selling or are not high on the Ben Simmons stock. So what we want to do is we want to play what Chris Broussard had to say here, and then we're going to come back and react to it. So take a listen to what Chris Broussard had to say there.
What was it called? The process?
Trust the process?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, we thought that was a process going on and he was going to be a part of it. And then when he didn't want to be there anymore, you know, like that throws a monkey wrench into, you know, they thought they were going to have a shot at winning a championship. And it was going to be Ben and Embiid, right. Yeah, they thought that those two were going to get it done, and they went to the Eastern Conference Finals. Didn't they do it twice? I know once for sure.
I don't know if they got to the conference final.
Oh, they lost in the second. Well, I was thinking when
they were going out in the second
when
round.
They lost to Toronto. That was the second round.
That was the second round.
Okay, yeah. I was thinking that was the to get to the finals. But my point is, people thought that there was a process going on and that they had a shot at it, and then he doesn't want to be there.
Right. So, but it's hopefully, I mean, just for as basketball fans, you hope that this guy can become the player that he's got the potential to be. Because, Rob, he was fantastic at LSU. Now, there's some guys, and we're going to open it up to the listeners in a moment, but there's the physical issues we've talked about. There are the mental issues. And then, Rob, you're talking to people around the league, there are questions about his motor. Does he love the game? I've had a few people I spoke to last week about Ben tell me, these are executives in the league, that you got to stay away from him. He will get you fired. You know, like trading for him will get you fired. So there are those that wonder how much he loves the game, and they look at the fact that he's not even to the point where he's taking jump shots yet, and they look at that as he don't love it. He hasn't worked hard enough even to overcome that mental block. So we'll see. But
the question is, why would these NBA executives feel this way? To me, I think it's very simple. Number one, Ben Simmons is not a guy that's really looking to improve his basketball game. There, for instance, there's a channel out there that's sitting up here telling me, oh, I don't know basketball. This guy doesn't know basketball. You know, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's a Ben Simmons hater. And this guy will pull up a game where Ben Simmons scored 20 points and then tell you that's why I don't know basketball. He'll be pulling up highlights of Ben Simmons scoring buckets, and he's going to tell you, oh, yeah, you see? I thought you said he can't score, forgetting that all of us can just go look at his averages and see what he's looking at. Like, are you freaking kidding me? Ben Simmons this season is averaging 8.6 points per game. He's shooting 50% from the field. Some people are like, man, that's incredible. 60%, 61% from the field. The problem is he's only attempting 6 shots a game. That's about 2 shots, less than 2 shots a quarter, right? And he's making 3.8. He's shooting 0% from the three-point line. And Ben Simmons, since he's been in the NBA, has made 5 3-pointers. 5. He's shooting 50% from the free throw line. He's making 1 of 2. Now, he is getting you 6.5 rebounds and 6.1 assists. His turnovers are very low at 2.3, which is an improvement. And he's getting you 1.3 steals a game. But for you to sit up here and act like as if, you know, you're having some type of eureka moment, some enlightening about how Ben Simmons, like Ben Simmons at this point should have developed the same way his contemporaries have developed. And for the people that are trying to make excuses for him about why he hasn't developed, my question is, then why do we have so many other players that are getting better and he's not? Why is it different for him? Why do we have to look at his situation differently? Why? They say, well, he's been injured, but other players have been injured too. So why is his case unique? You look at a player, let me give you guys a player that I think we don't talk about enough in terms of players that are actually serious. Let's look at Paul George. Okay, I want to quickly look at Paul George for a second. Paul George, I believe, let me just pull up his stats here. I believe the year was 2013. Paul George won the most improved player of the year. Now, let me just give you guys some more information. Paul George breaking his leg. Paul George broke his leg back in 2013. I want you guys to listen to me. I think it was in an Team USA exhibition game or something like that. Paul George suffered a gruesome, listen to what I just said, a gruesome leg injury. But what did Paul George do after that? That year, he averaged 21 points. The very next season, Paul George only played 6 games. He missed the entire year. He averaged 8 points per game, less than a steal, less than a block, barely got you any assists that year. He didn't really play. He only played 6 games. Year after that, he was at 23. Year after that, he was at 22. The following year, Paul George finished, I believe, top 3 in MVP voting and Defensive Player of the Year and played 77 games when he was with the Oklahoma City Thunder. So if a player like Paul George can come back and really improve, what's Ben Simmons' excuse? And this is my biggest issue with these people. They are full of excuses. They'll tell you why a person needs to remain bad instead of telling us why he needs to improve. And that's my issue with it. So to me, I can totally understand. You're not going to convince me. You're not going to tell me you know basketball and talk about, oh, I know basketball. You know, I was coaching at the Rucker, like I know basketball. And then try to make an argument that a point guard or a point forward, a person that handles the ball, a person that plays on the perimeter in a basketball game, you're going to make an argument and tell me that he doesn't need to shoot. Are you on 1 or 2? How many? Is it 1 or 2 that you're on, bro? Is it 1 or 2? We're acting like as if we don't understand what basketball is. When we get to the playoffs, what's going to happen? Okay, if you're going to have Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving on the court, and you're going to be defending these guys, what do you want to do? you have to take away somebody, right? You got to take away somebody. And usually to win a series, unless you have Michael Jordan or one of these type of players, you're going to need 2 players to be able to provide you scoring consistently. In the case of the Brooklyn Nets, theoretically, they have 3 all-stars. Now, what's the defense going to do? They're either going to take away KD or they're going to take away Kyrie. And they're going to make other players beat them. And who's going to be one of the open men on the floor? You're going to have Royce O'Neal. You're going to have, Stephen Curry's brother, I forgot his name, Seth Curry. Or you're going to have, who else? Claxton. Who you think those guys are going to be able to carry the load? No, and you got Ben Simmons. And some people are telling me that when you're playing a basketball game, you're telling me in this particular NBA that spacing doesn't matter. What are you talking about? If you have a point forward bringing up the ball, he's going to set. He'll set a screen. He'll roll out to the 3-point. No, he's going to run to the dunker spot. What?